There's no secret that PC and console developers love doing mobile ports of their games, and I think we can all understand why. Mobile devices undeniably come with a large pre-existing user base. There's less competition there, as higher budget titles are more rare, and people are often more open to monetization practices that are pushing some boundaries. And while I appreciate that they take the time to port them, and some of them can be fun given the correct conditions, there's no denying that many of them just kind of suck. Controls often boil down to a normal DualShock just splattered across the screen, instead of something actually tailored to the fact that your phone barely has volume buttons, let alone joysticks or triggers. And the graphics are rarely optimized to look good on a phone, sometimes not clearing 30 or even 20 FPS on many devices. And all this had me thinking, what would the opposite of these games look like? The perfect ports, so to say. The games that weren't actually made for touchscreens, but still feel like they kinda were. The games that might even work better on mobile than the platforms they were originally released on. And I found 2 games that I think fits this description perfectly. To me, Papers, Please will always be among the gold standards of how phone games should be done. In it, you're tasked with the role of an immigration inspector at the border checkpoint of a fictitious state, and it is truly a beautiful port. Set in a portrait orientation to make better use of the screen space, the UI feels both more purposeful and less cluttered than what it does on PC. Whether it be dragging documents and papers across the screen to interact with them, or lining up the visas underneath the way too satisfying stamps, everything feels great. Being one of the early indie darlings of the 2010s, Papers, Please is a great game on any platform. But there is something about mobile that works particularly well for this title, it feels like. And despite being a recent addition to iPhones and Androids, it undeniably stands out as one of the best. The second game I wanted to talk about is Kingdom New Lands, and while it first came out on PC and Xbox back in 2016, it would still be another half a year before it made its way to mobile. It's a side-scrolling management game in which you're tasked with building and expanding a kingdom, while also keeping it defended from attackers. And if the easily readable graphics didn't already make it a great candidate for mobile, its controls surely do. While the game allows for a myriad of different actions, the inputs a player can do at any one time are actually very limited. In fact, you only ever have a single action available to you, and that is spending money. Spend 1 coin to chop a tree down or hire a villager, or spend 5 to construct a new tower. Where you're located is what decides what the action will actually do. This is how everything in the world works, and surprisingly, sticking some money on a tree can feel a lot more intuitive and fun than clicking through lengthy menus to do the same thing. So when the game is ported for a more limited platform like mobile, both the visuals and controls feel right at home. So these are the things that I enjoyed about these ports in particular. But if you instead want to hear more about games that were built from the ground up to be great on mobile, I recommend some of these videos.